if slavery's not wrong, nothing is. I must have everyone on board. The military, public, and the cabinet.
Over the summer, Lincoln is talking to people about what will become the Emancipation Proclamation. He's talking to his War Department, he's talking to the State Department.
Abolitionists were clamoring for Lincoln to do something. They were saying the Confederacy has these black men impressed into military laborers. Free these people, you know, we can use them to help us win the war. Black men had been saying it all along. White men and women started saying it as well.
Lincoln still believed that the Constitution made it impossible for the government to emancipate the slaves because Constitution protected property and property was slaves.
For political figures who have a moral compass, there is a constant warring inside you of when do I just blurt out what I think versus when do I bite my tongue and see if I can work something out. Am I betraying the ideals that I care about? Or am I playing a long game to advance them?
There's a clear learning curve as he learns the strategy of what will be necessary to win a war of this magnitude and this complexity. He exercised war powers like few presidents have ever in our history, and they were pretty upsetting to people, but he understood that he wasn't just the president, he was the commander-in-chief as well.
So that's when he begins to think about the fact that I don't have the constitutional power to emancipate the slaves in the Union as president, but maybe as commander-in-chief, I can emancipate the slaves in the South as a military necessity. But Lincoln would have to persuade the cabinet, the army, and the people that the Emancipation Proclamation was the right thing to do.
That on the first day of January, in the year of our Lord, 1863, all persons held as slaves within any state or designated part of a state shall be then, thenceforward, and forever free. What kind of villain you think the papers will make of me?
It won't be pretty.
I expect abuse from the Democrat papers, but the friendly ones, they'll see the wisdom.
I'm worried about enlistment. They'll say it's a war against slavery, not for the Union.
Well, my word is going out to the people. I won't take it back.
Lincoln's the master of this, at taking battles and being able to spin them for his needs politically. So that was enough for Lincoln to be able to issue the Emancipation Proclamation from a position of strength as opposed to weakness.
So Antietam was on September 17th. By September 22nd, Lincoln was issuing the proclamation. That preliminary proclamation said you have 100 days to either come back into the Union or I'm going to free your enslaved laborers.
Many in the world, particularly in Britain, saw it as just another political move to undermine the Confederacy, and he wasn't genuinely committed to it. But on the other hand, for many in Britain, that becomes the moment when Lincoln emerges as the great emancipator.
So Lincoln had waited until the Battle of Antietam to announce that he was going to issue on the Emancipation Proclamation in January. And between September and January, the blowback was so great that many people thought he might not sign it. The Republicans lost lots of seats in the midterm elections. The conservative Democrats who were against emancipation doubled in number, leaving the Republicans with a thin majority. What people in the North feared is that now the South would never come to the bargaining table. This would mean the war would be prolonged forever.
Lincoln's aware of all of these things. He's being political about it, but he's also being thoughtful about it.
On New Year's Eve, people are gathered in black communities throughout the North. People are just waiting on tenterhooks.
There was what we call watch night, where Douglass was with a group of abolitionist friends waiting to see if Lincoln would keep his word.
Well, no telegram yet.
He said he'd sign it today, and I believe he's a man of his word. I can wait a few minutes longer.
I don't want folks to think I doubted this. My whole soul was in it.
The morning that Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, there'd been a big New Year's reception at the White House, and he had shaken hundreds of hands. So when he went finally to sign the Emancipation Proclamation, his own hand was numb and shaking. He put the pen down. He said, "If ever my soul were in an act, it is in this act. But if I sign with a shaking hand, posterity will say he hesitated." So he waited and waited until he could sign with an unusually bold and clear hand.
It cannot be overstated how consequential this document was. With the stroke of a pen, Lincoln, through the authority that he has in that moment, frees millions of enslaved people in these Confederate states.
It's coming over the wire now!
There was a great celebration that broke out. You know, Douglass was said to have a great baritone singing voice, and I'm sure he was out there singing at the top of his lungs in celebration that this document was finally signed, which would change the balance of the war.